So what albums came out in 2014 that were good, but not quite good enough to make the cut of the top 25? Well, I have compiled a messy stack here of music that I believe fits that description. These are 20 honorable mentions from 2014. I've decided that I am not going to put these in an order like numbers. I'm just going to show you the album, tell you that I, enjoy it, and say, whether or not it's more honorable than others. If it's like the most honorable, then I will say that. But I just feel like listing these wouldn't really make too much sense. Because if I did, then I pretty much could have made a top 45 albums of 2014. So, I'm not going to do that. And not every album I bought in 2014 is going to be on this list. There were some albums I bought that I just didn't enjoy too much. Black Crown Initiate's album, which I know there's a lot of people who are praising that album to no end. I didn't care for it. Origin's new album, I'm not into technical death metal, and that album did not change my mind. Obituary's album was terrible. There's a few more that I bought that I just didn't care too much for. But let's get started. I'm going to show you the vinyl first, because I have all of these, like these physical albums, because I want to, like I said before, I want to have owned the album and given it enough fair chances to become album of the year or whatever. So, yeah, I'm just going to show you these in the way they're stacked. I Hate God's album. This is kind of my introduction to this band. Never really listened to I Hate God before this, but since this album, I have listened to a lot of their older stuff, which was kind of this album's downfall, because I genuinely feel like this is the weakest I Hate God that I've listened to. I've listened to all of it, but this album is my least favorite of all the I Hate God albums that the one or two other albums that I've listened to. So, yeah, I feel like I would have liked the album a lot more had I just not listened to the older stuff. But, that's not fair. I wanted to give the older stuff a chance and just see how I felt about the band in general. Yeah. This next one's one I actually haven't shown you guys yet in any of the vinyl videos or whatever. So I'm not really going to go into too much detail. But this is Devin Townsend with... the Devin Townsend Project. This is Z2. If I had these in numbers, this would probably be number one of the honorable mentions. I really wanted this album to be on my album of the year list. I tried to find a place for it, but I just couldn't. And I'm speaking about both of the albums, Dark Matters and Sky Blue. So I'm speaking about, the album as a whole, Z2 as a whole. Absolutely incredible stuff. Dark Matters is easily the most fun album that has come out this year. It's almost like a musical. If you know anything about, the first Ziltoid the Omniscient album, then Dark Matters is pretty much the follow-up to that. And it's absolutely amazing. It's so cinematic and big, and it's absolutely amazing. And Sky Blue is, some really good progressive rock. It's got some great albums on that thing. It's catchy as hell, and Devin Townsend is a genius. So that's Z2. This is another one that kind of surprised me that I liked as much as I did, and that's Hour of Penance with Regicide. Like I said, I'm not crazy about any type of technical death metal, and that pretty much is what that is. But nonetheless, it was still really good. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much had I not been reading along like the lyrics with the album, because that does often make an album better for me, as I believe it should. But yeah, it's crazy, insane technical death metal. This is an album that was not as good as I was expecting it to be, but it's still a damn good album. This is Massacre with Back from Beyond. Obviously, you know, pretty much very similar artwork to the original From Beyond, which I will not show. But yeah, and it's called Back from Beyond. You know, when I read that the album was going to be called Back from Beyond, and I saw the artwork and stuff, I was really expecting, you know, a sort of throwback to the From Beyond sound, which is not really what it was, but there's still some good tracks on this thing. Ascension of the Deceased is cool. Shield of the Sun, The Evil Within. Yeah, I mean, there's some good tracks on this thing. And overall, it's just a really good death metal album. So that's Massacre with Back from Beyond. This one was actually one that I was hoping I would enjoy more as well. And it's still a really good album. It's still a lot of fun, and there's definitely some good tracks on this thing. There's a lot of tracks on this thing. But this is Nunslaughter with Angelic Dread. Yeah, crazy awesome artwork. I was expecting a crazy awesome album, and that is what I got. It's just not as crazy awesome as I was expecting, but that's okay. Still some really, really cool songs on this thing, and you know, I almost forgot about this album. I had to make this video. I was like making this video, and I got to the end and realized I had forgotten this album, so now I'm just remaking it. But yeah, definitely some cool tracks on this thing. You know, Nunslaughter, though they have like a million 7-inch splits, that's like their 4th album or something, but it's still really, really good. So I'm not going to count that out. Then we got Iced Earth's new album, another one that came out really early in the year. Just absolutely amazing, amazing heavy metal. I guess you could call it that. Plagues of Babylon is, the title track is easily my favorite song on this album. Yeah, it's just really, really good stuff. I loved this album. I listened to it a lot, but I just wish that, I don't know, I wish it stuck with me a little more than it did, because I almost completely forgot about that album as well. I've listened to it quite a few times, but not at all in the past few months. So, you know, but even with that being said, it's a great album, and it's definitely worth a listen. And I am glad that I own a copy of the vinyl, because it is really cool artwork, and, you know, it's definitely a good album. Onto the CDs now. I only had 6 records that I don't have the CD for, so, yeah. Okay, these are, yeah, like I said, these are the CDs. This is one I kind of wished I liked a little bit more as well. This is Elevate with Origins. Really good tracks on this thing, and then some really not good tracks on this thing. I don't know, it's just, I wanted to like this more, because my introduction to Elevate was the album Everything Remains As It Never Was. That is an absolutely amazing album, and I guess I sort of wanted more of that, and that's not really what I got. But either way, it was, you know, there's some really cool tracks on this thing, and I do like the album an awful lot. Had I had more time with it, I may have enjoyed it more, but it is what it is. Then we got the new Epica album. You know, honestly, I bought this album because I pretty much knew that my girl would enjoy it, and 'cause she likes this sort of symphonic, girl-fronted metal bands, and she, you know, I got it, and I ended up enjoying the album. Some songs more than others. I think the song "The Essence of Silence" was the song on here that I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, it's a cool album. I'm usually not so much into the symphonic type of you know, metal, but that is a good album. So this is another one that came out very early this year. It's Ex Mortis, Slave to the Sword. Again, a really cool album. War-themed heavy metal, I guess you could say. I don't really know what else I would call it, because it doesn't really sound like death metal, but I don't know. It's like heavy metal. There's some good riffs on this thing. Definitely worth a listen. I kind of forgot about this album for a while, but I went back and listened to it a couple times in the past 2 weeks or so, and it is a good album. So that's Ex Mortis, Slave to the Sword. This is one that surprised me. This was my introduction to this band. This is Accept with Blind Rage. I wasn't really expecting to like this thing too much, but I heard some good things about it, so I picked it up. It was like $9, so why not? Yeah, I don't know. There's some cool songs in this, and then there's some songs that are really, really lame. Like Wanna Be Free, that song is lame, but, you know, yeah, there's just some cool songs in this thing, some good riffs, and that's what it's good for, the riffs. Here's another album that I wanted to like a little bit more than I did, but I did really, really enjoy this album again. This is Dark Fortress with Venereal Dawn. Yeah, it's just, you know, there's some really, really cool... Whoa! There's some really good songs on this thing. The title track, again, is my favorite song. I like that sort of, you know, sort of deep voiced vocals, not really like screams or growls, but just sort of like a deep talking vocal that it sounds like the vocalist does in that song. But yeah, it's just a lot of this is some really evil stuff, and I really like that. Luciform is a cool song, but I don't know what I was expecting when I bought this, but it's not exactly what I you know, what I got. But still, it's a good album. Dark Fortress, Venereal Dawn. Next is an album that it seems like everybody else liked a lot more than I do. And that's fine. I mean, you know, it's still a really, really good album. There's a couple songs in this thing that I think are absolutely amazing. But, yeah, that's Insomnium's new album with Shadows of the Dying Sun. Yeah, I don't know. I mean... Lost Tonight, that song is amazing. Like, that's easily my favorite song on the album. Probably one of my favorite Insomnium songs altogether. Oh, is it Lose Tonight? I'm sorry, it's Lose Tonight. But either way, just the chorus in that song is so good. But, I don't know, just something about the album as a whole just didn't really stick with me too much. That's why, you know, I was expecting that to be on my end of the year list, because Insomnium has always been a band that I've really, really loved. But unfortunately it wasn't, and that's, you know, it's a shame, but still, it wasn't a bad album by any means. I absolutely love the album, and I wish that I enjoyed it more, but, you know. This is one I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did, and that's Septic Flesh with Titan. Not a big Septic Flesh fan. I don't know, that sort of symphonic death metal is kind of, I don't know, I just haven't really been a fan of it since I found, you know, the first symphonic death metal bands that I listened to. But, I don't know, this time has some really cool songs on it, and that's, you know, I pretty much bought this because I heard one song before and I liked it. I pretty much bought it for that song, and the album ended up being a good album, so that's why it's on this list. I don't remember the song. I think the song Burn was the song that I heard that made me buy the album. And then Confessions of a Serial Killer is a really cool song. I don't know, just, you know, like I said, I'm not a big fan of symphonic death metal, but this is good symphonic death metal, so I like that a lot. Now, I know I say a lot that I don't like technical death metal, and that's why Origin's album is not on any of my lists, but I did enjoy this new Rings of Saturn album. I guess you could call it technical deathcore if you want. So this is Lugal Cayenne, maybe? Is that how you say it? Yeah, I like this album about as much as I thought I would. I bought it having heard, I don't remember the song that came out. Was it Senseless Massacre? I think it may have been. But, yeah, I bought it, and even though it is really technical, and there, it still has these memorable parts that I always accuse technical death metal of not being able to pull off, and Rings of Saturn does it. I'm just gonna call them technical death metal. If you want to, call them, oh, they're not death metal, they're deathcore, that's fine. I'm just, you know, they're technical as fuck. Their music playing, you know, the instrumentation on this thing is fucking crazy. And I do feel like they're able to retain a sort of feeling of, you know, madness and you know, craziness and just technical fuckery, but all while retaining this badass death metal sound that they have, or deathcore sound that they have. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed the album, and that's what matters. Yeah, it's a really, really good album. Rings of Saturn, Lugal Cayenne. This was one that was on my top list for a little bit before I actually really sat down and made it. That's Cannabis Corpse with From Wisdom to Baked. Crazy, crazy, crazy good, crazy fun death metal. You know, besides, you know, the fact that Cannabis Corpse has, you know, really awesome names. I love, like, really awesome song titles. I love that they don't take themselves too seriously. And that's obvious. I mean, you know, pretty much all of their songs have parody titles of Cannibal Corpse songs, and some of few, they have the, let's see, they have, well, on here they have Considered Dank, which, Considered Dead is a Gorguts album, if I'm not mistaken. Individual Pop Patterns, which is obviously a death reference. Medicinal Healing, which obviously another death reference, but it's still really cool stuff. With Their Hash He Will Create is easily my favorite song on this album. Maybe I'm biased because Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder does vocals on that album, and you know how I feel about that band. So, but yeah, Cannabis Corpse, From Wisdom to Baked, it's an awesome album, a lot of fun, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to whatever they do in the future. Next up is an album that I know my good friend Pat, Counterbeat, hates this album. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. That's Knockmistium with The World We Left Behind. I'm sorry, Pat. Yeah, though Blake Judd is an asshole, I genuinely enjoyed the album. I feel like it's got this very, I don't know, like, something about this album is just, I don't know, it's almost like melancholic without having a melancholic sound. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, I think it has to do with the lyrics, but I don't know. That's the only reason I like this album. I just like the feeling that I get when I listen to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will be the last Knockmistium album, which is fine. I don't want to support, you know, a band who keeps fucking over the fans. I know that, you know, Blake Judd had apologized for whatever happened in 2012 with, you know, all that shit, and then I bought this album, and then I realized he did that shit again, so, I won't support anything that Knockmistium may do in the future, and that's why I wish I really didn't like the album, but, you know, I do enjoy the album, and I don't know. Yep, Knockmistium, The World We Left Behind. Next up is a absolutely crazy, barbaric, sort of brutal death metal, I guess you could say. This is Belphegor with Conjuring the Dead. Absolutely insane stuff. I mean, yeah, just look at these guys. Look at those. Look at this guy right here. That's, you know, that's how I feel when I listen to this album. It's fucking crazy, and I'm not too... I own a couple Belphegor albums, but that and Blood Magic Necromance are the best, in my opinion. The guy's vocals are so heavy, and the instruments are so heavy, and it's really fucking good. Next up is an album that came out pretty early this year. It's like a Swedish death thrash band that's... This is their debut album, and it's fucking amazing. Vampire, with Vampire, it's self-titled. I love this album. This is another one I tried to find a spot for it on the top 25. I really did. But I don't know, man. I mean, it got outplayed by a couple other albums, and that's really a shame, because this album is absolutely amazing. If you haven't listened to it, definitely check this out. So this album is so dark. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Just listen to the song "Howl from the Coffin." It's dark, it's evil, it sounds like it was recorded in a cave, and I fucking love that. Swedish fucking metal. I swear to God, Sweden can do no wrong, mostly. Vampire. Absolutely amazing stuff. Down to the final two here. There's 20 of these altogether, like I said before, so these were kind of... The CDs were like sort of in a list of how I felt about them. So yeah, they're getting... I feel I like the albums more and more as I show you them. Another really, really good album. This is Raped by Pigs with Squealing to the New World. God, this embodies Slam. This is crazy, crazy good shit. It's absolutely terrifying how heavy it can get, and the vocals are just so ridiculous and all over the place. And Travis Ryan does vocals on this album, so, you know, there's that. But I mean, it can almost... It's almost deathcore-y in some parts, but I genuinely feel like this is the definition of Slam, and I fucking love that about the album. It's so good. Yeah, I believe this was actually Raped by Pigs' debut too. But, you know, it's what Slam is, and fucking love it. Raped by Pigs. Now this is the last one. Ill Omen, Enthroning the Bonds of Abhorrence. I've rewritten my top 25 list like 4 or 5 times. 4 of those 5 times, Jesus Christ, this album was on it. I tried so hard to put this into the list, but there was just a couple albums that I reviewed, like that I went over and listened to again, and they stole it from them. And that's really a shame. This album is fucking terrifying. I mean, just, you know, musically, vocally, it's scary. And you know, that is this album's charm. It's so good. And I have listened to it so many times, and it is worthy of a top 20, a spot in the top 25. But there was one album that I just couldn't leave out of the top 25. So unfortunately, that's the one that got the boot. But yeah, Ill Omen, Enthroning the Bonds of Abhorrence, absolutely amazing. And that's it. That's 20 honorable mentions from 2014. But stay tuned, because next is the top 25 albums of 2014. I'm excited to make the video. I'm excited to see videos from everybody else who are posting their top 20 or 25 or 15 or 10 or 40 or 50 or 80 or 100. I don't care. I'm just excited for the videos. They're my favorite. That's my favorite time on YouTube is list week, or list weeks around the last couple weeks of December. Just because I love seeing the end of the year list videos. But that's next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you like it. Tell me if you disagree. Let me know if you think an album should be in the top 25. If you think that is album of the year, tell me. Let me know if you think one of these albums